stuff. Fantastic! What a strike. Incredible strike.
And the Italian fans are loving him.
Hey, what's up guys? Dylan Johnson from Soceermag.com here, and welcome back to the Euro 2024 show. This week we'll be looking at some of the results from the group stages and going through the fixtures for the round of 16, as well as going through some predictions for the later rounds of the knockout stages, who we think is going to get through to the quarters, look at some of the team's pathways, and also just have a chat about some of the players and some of the things we noticed about, some of the sides in the group stages. Today I'm joined by Paolo Bersella, who has come back for the second time. Thank you for coming back.
Thanks, Dylan.
What did you think of, what was your overall view of the group stages? What excited you? What disappointed you?
I think what excited me the most was the rise of the new players coming to the fore. I think we now seeing some unknown names come up to the top scorers list, like Georgios Mikautatsa at the top of the...
I'm glad you said that because I wasn't even going to try.
Yeah. I think with me, you can be assured that I know how to pronounce these names, so don't worry. Mikautatsa, also what surprised me a lot is the underwhelming performances in the group stage matches, especially by France, by Portugal, by Netherlands, Belgium especially, just by the skin of their teeth getting through the group stage. And I think overall, Spain and Germany being only the ones who are really dominant, who really look sure that they have a bench, players to call upon in tough moments in the tournament landscape. So every time I watch these matches, even a Romania versus Slovakia, or compared to a France versus Netherlands, 1-1 Slovakia and Romania, or was it 1-1? Yeah, 1-1. And 0-0 between Netherlands and France. And I'm like, what quality are we seeing here? Is the quality becomes so fine when you go to tournament football. It's fine margins, and it ends up, your form goes through the window, and your match day performance becomes the telling sign of how good you're going to be for the rest of the tournament, how far you're going to go and progress throughout the whole tournament. So that's been my surprise, or my whole outlook on the group stage. It's been one of big surprise, and also I can't say that I wasn't surprised at all, because there are always going to be teams that they underperform, and obviously we launched our predictions on who was going to underperform, and we got very, very shocked by some of the underperformance. So especially Ukraine, right?
They were unlucky, but still in that group, we all thought they would progress. Potentially, I think Matt said there was underdogs for the tournament, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And I think maybe if they were in a different group, it would be different. But that first game against Romania, they were completely outclassed. It was pretty crazy. And Romania, for me, are one of the biggest surprises. Did not expect to see them score 3 goals across all 3 games, let alone in one. Yeah. In one game.
100%. So they ended up with 4 goals in their group and topped the group, sharing the same amount of points as their group members. Their whole group. So it was 4-4-4-4 in a group with Belgium, Ukraine, and Slovakia. Crazy, to say the least.
This is a bit of a side note, but there's been lots of criticism about the structure of the Euros, because I think it used to be like Copa America, have 16 teams go straight to quarterfinals. But then I think the Euros changed to 24, and they have that similar to, I think it was the World Cup, where it's 4 of the third place teams go through, and then you have a situation like Ukraine where they've been better than a team, say, that gets 2 points or 3 points, and they still go through. Would you think it'd be better if they increase it to 32 teams and then just go top two of every group? Even though people have said the reason it's 24 is because the strength of Europe or whatever. I would like to see a team like Norway in the Euros. I don't think they're bad enough. I think it could be interesting to see a player like Haaland or Ødegaard.
In their prime.
Yeah, like, why 24? It's a bit arbitrary.
Yeah.
You know, why not just make it 32?
Because then you don't have to have the third place playoff.
Yeah, then you just cut off.
Not a third place playoff, just like having
The mini
4
group.
third place
Yeah.
teams. 100%.
Because I think they said also, what is it? Was it Ukraine that was eliminated, or who was it eliminated by a yellow card given to like a coach or something? And that's just like, because it was their discipline was the same. Essentially, their goal scored was the same.
There was that in the group with England. Slovenia got through, I think, because of disciplinary.
So it was Serbia that didn't get that got knocked out or
No,
something.
it was Denmark and Slovenia who were on the same points,
and then Denmark
finished above them, even though they were on the same goals scored and same goals against or conceded. Exact same.
But because
result.
of the yellow cards to the coach.
But
So
because-
even though they
yeah.
weren't eliminated, imagine they were eliminated over something like that.
Imagine it
Yeah.
was the Ukraine group where, you're on exactly the same points, exactly on the same goals scored, goals conceded, and you get eliminated on the disciplinary record
Of a coach.
Of a coach.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's controversial in
Yeah.
itself. So, I agree with you. Possibly increasing it to the 32 teams, you'll just have how many extra groups? Two extra groups.
Yeah.
2 extra groups, and that'll give 8 other teams an opportunity to qualify for the next Euros. And I know they're doing that with the World Cup in 2026. So they'll have 8 groups
As
of 4
opposed to
teams
6 and
as
then-
opposed
yeah.
to 6, and then no need for the 4 best third place teams. And I agree with you. I think it just gives more continents an opportunity to qualify. So say like an extra 2 from Africa, an extra, doesn't need to really be more European teams, but I guess it's just
Another Asian team.
another Asian team,
South American.
another South American, and that will just increase the quality of
world football.
world
'Cause they're
football.
getting more
Yeah.
exposure of players,
100%.
all those kind of things.
Yeah, like the Georgia's Mikhail Tadzes, all those people who don't even know who that guy is now know who he is because he scored 3 goals in the European Championship. I mean, after quite a strong season in France for Metz. I mean, he's been a revelation in this European
And
Championship.
if it was still 16, Georgia wouldn't have been in. I think it's their first tournament.
Mm.
So, I mean, I just don't see why 24 doesn't make sense. I can understand for Copa America because there simply aren't enough South American or North American teams.
Right.
But Europe has so many teams that are missing out.
Do they adopt the same kind of
So it's
thing
16,
for
it's 16
Copa
teams.
America?
So it's 16 teams, and they've included North American teams.
Yeah.
So Canada and USA and Mexico, essentially. Even though Mexico, I think, have always been in it. Then it just goes straight to quarterfinals.
Right.
So it's the groups and then top 2
Yeah.
quarters.
But for Copa America, are they adopting the same format as the Euros now, where in the group stage there's only 6 groups and
So I think it's 4 groups of 4.
4 groups
And then
of 4?
top two go through straight to quarters.
Okay, straight to quarters. Huh.
Because they don't have enough. There's only 16 in the competition, so they couldn't just do a round of 16 because then everyone just goes through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. 100%. Or they do every third place team in that group, but it still wouldn't equate. Still wouldn't equate. So, Dil, out of all the players we talked about last episode, we talked about the top 3. We talked about Harry Kane, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Kylian Mbappe. And all 3 of them have underperformed. Combined between the 3 of them, 2 goals. One of them was a penalty by Mbappe. What is your opinion of them in this tournament so far? And what do you think, or how do you think they'll perform in the knockout stages?
So I think that Mbappe is it's a bit harsh to include him because he was injured and he hasn't played all 3 games.
The
I do
Ninja
think,
Turtle.
I'm actually pretty bleak he didn't come out with a Ninja Turtle mask. Like,
Yeah.
I think that would have been.
There were those
sick.
memes circulating of the Ninja Turtle mask.
He would have owned. No one would have been able to make fun of him anymore because he would have owned it. I think it would have
Yeah.
been great. Harry Kane and Ronaldo. I think that's more like of a sign of how their teams are struggling. I think Portugal. We were both talking last episode about how powerful Portugal and England squads are on paper. They're arguably, with France, the three best squads in the competition easily.
Yeah.
I think the way they should play is, Portugal should have won all 3 games, should not have lost to Georgia,
Yeah.
should not have been at least outplayed the way they were against Georgia. England, even in the first game, all 3 of those games they played in the group stages were
They made it tough for themselves.
so bad.
They made it really tough for themselves.
They got through and they topped the group, and fair enough, you get in tournament football, you get the job done, you just make sure you get to the next round.
Yeah.
But they just did not play well at all. Like, there seems to be no chemistry, and the way that one of the things I can't understand, kind of going off topic but talking about England, is Kieran Trippier being forced to play left back. And there was a lot of talk about where'd you play Trent, where'd you play Foden, all these kind of things. I just don't understand the Kieran Trippier at left back, because when England play, you can see how easy it is for the opposition to defend him, because he doesn't even try go to the byline. Every time he gets the ball, he cuts inside,
Yeah.
passes it backwards, or looks to cross in.
And it's a nice trigger
so
to
easy
press
defend.
because you can block the inside, so it forces him to go backwards.
Exactly.
So it promotes negative football.
And even when Foden comes into that area to give him support, Foden gets the ball, passes it straight back to him. I think it was in the last game, you see Foden run into that area, and he doesn't. It looks so unnatural for him. He doesn't want to run into the box. He wants to come
Short.
entering the box,
He wants
into
to
that
come a bit
central area.
He wants to come a bit deeper,
Exactly.
receive the ball, play maybe a bounce pass, and then start running in. He wants to connect
But
with
he doesn't want to be in that left, touchline tram area at all. It looks so uncomfortable.
I'm sure you can whip out his heat map and see his movements. His natural tendencies is to play in that number 10 role more towards that right-hand
Him,
side.
Saka, and Palmer's heat map for the Prem would probably be identical, and that's where they all want to play. And people are saying, why is Palmer not playing? I don't think Palmer will solve any problems.
Do you not think so?
I think that he naturally wants to do very similar things to Foden.
Yeah.
And then Saka. Saka's probably more different in that if a player like Trent plays, Saka can get in behind. We saw in the friendlies how many times Trent found Saka running in behind with some great passes.
Yeah.
I think he has to start Anthony Gordon, because I think Anthony Gordon's one of the only attackers that naturally wants to play in that area. And
On the left side.
as soon as he came
And cut in on his right, yeah.
as soon as he came on, Slovenia on that side had to actually do something. Now
There was
they
that
sat
element
deeper,
of a bit of panic and a bit of problem
because
solving.
he
maybe.
actually can beat players. That's where he wants to be. He can run in behind. He loves running in behind.
Yeah.
I think Harry Kane is suffering because all the players in the front line, even Bellingham, playing as the 10, they're not playing to suit Harry Kane. They all want the ball to feet. They all want to, so many times when Declan Rice or whoever's playing midfield has the ball next to him, all of those attackers are back to goal. They're all looking at the ball, wanting the ball at their feet. There's no one moving. It's like Harry Kane gets the ball.
They're very
You can't-
rigid in their
he
position.
can't look up like he was doing at Spurs or Bayern. Look up. There's Son running in behind, pass it through. There's very little link-up play.
There's
because,
Sane, there's Coman, there's whoever.
Because everyone is that side of him. But I think all the attackers are like that. Foden gets the ball, and then it's Kane looking at him, wanting the ball to his feet, or, Kieran Trippier as an option, or giving it to Declan Rice deeper.
Yeah.
There's no threat behind
Yeah.
the defense at all, and I think that's why Harry Kane's struggling, because there's very little for him. He's kind of starving. He hasn't played well. It's not can't bail him out because he hasn't played well.
Right.
But I just think England are struggling to create because they're just playing too many players that are similar, and it's just, I think Anthony Gordon has to start, and then going to Ronaldo.
Yeah.
I think, this is almost a
Farewell for him, maybe.
I need Ronaldo, bro. He's never leaving.
He's
He's
never
going to
leave-
be there 55 years old. At 20, whatever World Cup's going to be there.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, though, that we saw against Georgia that Portugal's attack was so bad against Georgia. Like, I don't even think you can just blame Ronaldo for that. And obviously Ronaldo now has his limits. The guy's basically 40 years old. He literally cannot run for 90 minutes. It's impossible.
He just
But
has to kind of like hang around
he
in
has
the
to be
space.
that poacher that he's developed his game into, you know, getting into the right place at the right time. But he wasn't getting much service at all, to be fair to him. But I also don't know if you can go into the group stages and have Ronaldo starting every game. Besides the physical aspect of it, like, I just don't think Ronaldo's that guy to lead Portugal to win the Euros, playing every game. I think he can make a huge impact off the bench. Imagine last 20 minutes of the game, you need a goal, you bring on a fresh Ronaldo. I think tired defenders' worst nightmare, that. You know, the movement he'll have in the box, his aerial threat. But Ronaldo doesn't want that. He's not that guy. He is, I need to play 90 minutes every single game.
And that's the thing.
And that's why I think
he demands a lot
yeah.
from himself, his manager, his players. He's almost the player manager on the field.
And that's why when he got subbed off, he was angry.
Subbed off in the 66th minute,
And
something like
it's-
that, yeah.
You know, the game didn't really mean anything. I get it. He's frustrated.
2-0 down.
But you can't, like, I don't know, it's a bit early to be throwing a tantrum, being subbed off, you know.
It's throwback to him at United under Eric Ten Hag. Throwing tantrums, throwing hissy fits. But I guess, you know, when you are of that caliber of a player, the expectation is for you to stay on the whole game in such a match. You know, the gravity of that match was huge. Obviously, you've won the group, fine.
But
cool.
you don't want to lose momentum.
You don't want to lose momentum. You don't want to lose the game because that you're only as good as your last match, right, or your last performance. So my question is, why take off Ronaldo when you're chasing a game, and you know you need a bit more quality on the field, bringing on Jota, Gonzalo Ramos, who haven't had the best seasons at all. You know, Ramos has been a bench player for PSG. Jota's been a bench player for Liverpool. Jota got seriously injured during the season as well. Are they going to change the game for you? Potentially. But it's a big risk because the momentum's with Georgia. They're sitting in a low block. They're playing on the counter attack. I mean, who can you get on the ball to change the game for you? Bernardo Silva, potentially. Rafael Leao, potentially. But don't take Ronaldo off. I know your take is pretty much against the grain, like very against the grain of keeping Ronaldo on the bench.
I'm more thinking more towards the knockout stages.
More towards the knockout stages. So group stage, if you were the manager of Portugal, would you have started Ronaldo in every match?
I think it's difficult because he's such a big personality that it's like, as the manager of Portugal, even, I'm not saying it's tactically wrong to start Ronaldo or not, but I can imagine there's a scenario where Ronaldo has played, say, 2 games in like 6 days, and he's not at his physical peak. You drop him for a meaningless game, and then he's not happy. And then there's like problems, you know, those kind of things, which I think has happened before. It happened at the World Cup. I would definitely start Ronaldo. I think starting Ronaldo against Georgia, it's a meaningless game. You have to start him. Like, I don't know.
You still have to get your team over the line and create some sort of momentum.
But I think the problem with Portugal isn't just Ronaldo. I think the whole team, they struggled all 3 games. You know, it was late winners.
Yeah.
Dominated the ball, but no chances, like very poor chances.
I mean, only that Turkey game they really dominated. But Turkey there was no quality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, just not creating good chances. They have such great attacking players. Their midfield is great. Their defense is great. And they dominate the ball. I mean, yesterday against Georgia, they had so much of the ball, but they just don't get the ball into the box. So if they do, it's a terrible
There's no
terrible
quality on the end product.
Exactly.
Their final third end product wasn't there.
And I think Ronaldo's not the kind of attacker, maybe when he was younger, to go fetch the ball and do something. He needs the ball now. Like, he needs service.
Yeah.
And like, to get the best out of Ronaldo, you need a build your team around giving him service.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to do that, it's almost like get a player like Jota who similar needs service but can press really well, can read defenders really well. Like for Liverpool, we score so many goals by reading and moving to how defenders have the ball, as an example. But I don't think Martinez is using his squad very well.
I think I agree with you to that extent, because I look at Portugal, I watch them play, and I think how far can they go in this Euros. I don't think they can even get to a semi-final. I mean, the route that they have, it's the toughest route. You know, they've got Germany on their side of the bracket, France, Spain. You know, coming up against those three teams, it's almost inevitable what's going to happen. You know, like the odds of you winning is pretty low. I think Martinez needs to change his system, because it looks like they don't even have an identity. When I watch them, they lack a bit of a bit of structure in the way they. I don't know if they're a pressing team, because Ronaldo doesn't press, as you say. I don't know if they're a Man City type team, where they are not defending at all. They're just controlling the game, controlling possession. And we've seen them more leaning to that style of player. But the type of players haven't been playing in that system, like Leao. Leao looks a bit lost on the left. Like, should he cut in and score, or is his role to feed Ronaldo? So that's the grey area.
And
that a young...
He's a sorry to interrupt, but he's like he is a star attacker. He's the kind of player you build your attack around.
He's a mercurial forward.
He must drive into the box. He must take shots. And you can't have wingers like that when you want to get the best out of Ronaldo.
Being limited.
Because you're driving into the box and you're taking his space. You're taking the area that he's dominant in away. Because Ronaldo's not going to move out wide if Leao comes in.
He's not going to interchange positions too much. We've seen the odd Ronaldo today, drop in a little bit to play like a one bounce pass back, you know. But he rarely picks up the ball and drives an opponent. Obviously, his legs are not how it used to be. You know, a young Ronaldo would do that, and he's just not the same anymore. So maybe it could be beneficial to limit his minutes a bit, give a younger player a chance up front. But then who do you play? That's the question. So Portugal have a striker problem right now, because Ronaldo's not firing, and no one else is creating that impact off the bench. Similar with France as well. You know, you just had Mbappe break his nose, but Giroud's not even coming onto the pitch. Griezmann's not firing really, and they've scored 2 goals and conceded 1 in the group stage. Where are the goals going to come from? Dembele isn't a goal scorer. I don't know what he's actually good at anymore. I know people like hate him a lot, but I've seen him in the Euros, expert dribbler, like can beat a player, the deceleration and the acceleration to beat a player, outstanding. Just no final product
whatsoever.
No final product, no urge to score the goal. You can see there's no kind of impetus or fire to score that goal.
I think he's been one of the best at drawing a defender, hitting it into space, getting into that, you know, right-hand side of the box or that area outside the box.
Right.
But his crossing in or putting the ball in or decision-making is so bad. It puts so much more pressure on the other attackers. Because since his years at Dortmund, Dembele's output has been terrible.
Yeah.
And I think, like, for France, he's got 5 goals in 50-something appearances, and he's scored against, I think it's like Wales, and like
He's not a big game player.
But it also seems like he's not. What is he actually providing?
Yeah.
Because he's not getting assists.
Yeah, it's the same situation. France have the same conundrum. It's an over-reliance on Mbappe. Similar with Portugal, it's an over-reliance on Ronaldo.
And England with Kane as
well. It's an over-reliance on one player, or Bellingham. It's an over-reliance on that player. How the big teams, or the best teams that are going to win these type of championships, are the teams that play together as a team, that have that mentality, that have that system where it integrates everyone and inclusion, as you might
But if
say.
you look at Spain and Germany, who are the best two performing teams, the burden of goals is spread. I think Germany would have like 4 or 5 different goal scorers already. It's
Yeah.
Musiala, is it Wirtz?
Musiala, Wirtz,
Füllkrug,
Füllkrug,
and Havertz.
and
Havertz?
Emre Can as
And
well.
Emre Can. So that's already 5 different goal scorers,
Yeah.
right? That goal burden is on Mbappe, it's on Ronaldo,
Mm-hmm.
it's on Harry Kane. And if they don't score, the goals are not coming from Leao either, but he hasn't really
Yeah.
been on the
The
pitch
system
that
doesn't
much.
fit it. You can see it doesn't
Even
fit
Spain.
it.
Spain's goals burden is not just Morata. Even though Morata's scoring,
Yeah.
you have
Fabian
Ruiz
Ruiz,
scoring,
Pedri.
you have like multiple different players that are
Yeah.
coming and stepping up and scoring and taking the burden off, because the way the team is designed is not just Morata's our guy. Like,
But that you can see for years, it's embedded in their DNA, Spain. This is the way we play, tiki-taka. In possession, we are dominating, we're controlling the game. We're playing 1, maximum 2 touch passes. And that's how we beat opponents. That's how we control the game. That's how we defend in possession. We don't give the ball away. When we do give the ball away, we're winning the ball back within 6-7 seconds. Okay? And that's it. That's how they play. I can see identity within Spain. I can see identity within Germany. And that's how those teams are going to get far in the competition. Unluckily, they've been drawn on the same side. So only one of them can get to the final. You know, I see identity in an underdog, Austria, under Rolf Rangnick.
Rolf has got it. You can see the blueprint. You can see, even though he hasn't been in the job for super long,
Yeah.
you compare him to someone like Southgate, who has been coaching England for close to a
7
decade.
years, isn't it?
Something like that, close to
Yeah.
a decade. And you still don't know how this team's playing. And a lot of the players are still, they play together at club level, they play in the Premier League, and the top teams in the Premier League play a very similar brand of football.
Yeah.
But the way that England play, there's no style.
Yeah.
Like, there is no progressing the ball up the pitch, controlling the ball,
Yeah.
trying to, get players moving in certain areas, like Foden does at Man City, where he operates in a certain area, or how Saka runs with the ball, or receives and has a runner coming off him for Arsenal, or something like that. There's nothing like that for England. It's get the ball and see what Declan Rice can do, see what Bellingham can do, see Saka crosses it in, thank goodness Bellingham's on the end of it to score.
Yeah.
You look at Germany, who have changed managers multiple times.
Yeah.
Nagelsmann hasn't been there for very long.
But he's created a style of play which suits the players.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The progress that he's made there. And England, looking at their side of the thing, they will probably make the semi-final. And it'll be sloppy and it won't look good. And
Are you sure about that?
it just will probably happen.
Italy or Switzerland?
It'll
could.
probably get to the quarterfinals and England will beat Italy or something, but on penalties, and then they'll get to semis and they'll be like, Southgate
Historically, that hasn't happened though. We've beaten England on penalties.
But in the final. But I'm saying
in the final
yeah.
and 2012 quarterfinal.
Oh yeah,
Don't
but
forget.
Southgate wasn't there. In
Don't
2012.
forget, bro.
So
That was Capello, wasn't it?
I don't know. I'll be honest.
I remember
have no idea.
I heard something the other day. Capello constantly states that England is the impossible job. And we are seeing this.
But I think if you put a different manager there, not
Who? But who?
it's hard. It's
Remember
hard
we
to-
discussed
yeah.
it? Graham Potter
It's not
potentially,
all
but
Southgate's
can't.
fault, because also these players are the highest level. They can make it work. They can make it work to a certain extent. Like the attacking players are just not doing well enough. Like, it's not Southgate's fault that Harry Kane isn't necessarily doing well.
Sensational stuff. Fantastic!